Do you really want to walk a Camino de Santiago route, but are short on time? Most people in that position choose to walk the final 100 kilometers of the most popular Camino trails, the Camino Frances from Sarria or the Camino Portugues from Tui or Vigo. That's because in order to receive a Compostela certificate when you reach Santiago, you must have walked at least 100 kilometers and collected 2 stamps a day in your Pilgrim passport. But what if I told you that you could walk a whole Camino in just over 100 kilometers and finish your walk in Santiago? It's a route that's quieter with fewer pilgrims, and yet it's still packed with all the magic of pilgrimage. Spoiler alert, it's the Camino Ingles, and today I'm going to share with you 8 reasons why you should really consider walking this trail. And please stay around till the end because I'm going to be revealing something really special that I discovered when I walked this Camino route recently that completely surprised me. Reason 1, it can be walked in a week or less. The Camino Ingles is around 113 kilometers from Ferrol to Santiago, which means that you can walk it comfortably in 5 to 7 days. It's therefore possible to walk with only taking 1 week off work or away from any other commitments that you may have. So if you're short on time or perhaps just testing the waters of pilgrimage, this is actually the ideal starter Camino. Reason 2, it's less crowded, but it's not lonely. So unlike the busier routes, this one possibly offers more space for reflection, but you're not isolated. So you can still find a sense of community. When I walked this route last summer with my daughter, we met other friendly pilgrims of different nationalities that we would bump into at regular intervals. However, there were far fewer pilgrims than there were when I walked the Camino Frances, which was the year prior to walking the Camino Ingles. My daughter and I sometimes walked alone, just me and her. Sometimes we even walked at our own pace and then split up for short periods. But at other times we fell into step with other pilgrims, which was great because we got to chat, find out about each other, enjoy breaks and even special times together, which are unique to pilgrimage walks, such as this pilgrim blessing in a church just before we reached Bruma Hospital. Reason 3. The scenery is lovely and it's varied, so think of rolling green hills, eucalyptus forests, sections of the coast, fabulous sunsets, ancient churches, old bridges and towns, farmland, pretty villages, and even interesting sculptures. There is actually a dinosaur too that was very unexpected. But what I'm trying to say is the landscape and the scenery are ever changing and it's really stunning. If you are enjoying this video and you're finding it helpful in any way, please could you just press that like button now? It really does help this video reach more people who might be dreaming of doing a walk like this. And do subscribe if you're interested in hiking or pilgrimage walks, and then you'll be notified of more of my videos when they're released. Thank you. Reason 4, it's a route with deep historical roots. This was the route that was probably taken by pilgrims from the British Isles and Northern Europe who arrived by sea. So for me personally, it was additionally special because I am a pilgrim from the British Isles. I've also walked sections of Camino trails in the UK that pilgrims may have walked centuries ago on their way to the south coast of England across dangerous seas before arriving at the north coast of West Spain and then continuing their journey onwards to Santiago de Compostela. The trails that I've walked in the UK include a section of the Finkel Camino Ingles in the north of England and St Michael's Way in Cornwall, and I actually have videos of me walking both of these trails and I'll pop links to them in the description below this video. So for me, it seemed only right that I should continue with the Spanish sections of the Camino and walk the Camino Ingles from either A Coruña or Ferrol. I chose the route from Ferrol because it's over 100 kilometers and the sign at the beginning actually says it's 113 kilometers. So that meant that both my daughter and I, when we walked it, we would be eligible for a Compostela. Reason 5, Although it's a short Camino, it does still count for the Compostela, like I've just said, because even if you take the Ferrol route, it's over 100 kilometers. So you can go to the Pilgrim office in Santiago when you arrive and show them your Pilgrim passport, which should have in it evidence of your walk. And this means, as I've already said at the beginning of the video, that you need to collect at least 2 stamps a day in your Pilgrim passport. And you can get these stamps from churches, from cafes, albergues, guest houses, or hotels. So although it is one of the shortest routes, it still qualifies. That being said, you can also walk the even shorter Camino Ingles route from A Coruña. This route is about 73 kilometers, and you can actually combine this with another section of the Camino, which can be a Camino route in the British Isles or Spain, to make it up to 100 kilometers in total. So some pilgrims do start on one of the British or Irish routes and then opt to continue from A Coruña. Some pilgrims even sail over the sea to the start in a ship, in a tall ship, and my daughter and I actually met some people that had done just that when we walked the Camino Ingles. Reason 6, you can start in a port town. Starting in Ferrol gives the Camino Ingles a really distinctive feel. You begin by the sea, and then after walking through the town, you start walking around a wide bay, and then gradually start heading inland. You do pop out again at the coast, but then you head inland again, and then eventually you reach Santiago. I really did enjoy the changing landscape, and it kind of felt like a journey through something, not just across a map. It actually took me a few days to let go of the usual life stresses and noise, but as I walked step by step, I did start to unwind. So the rhythm of the days and the simplicity of walking and the natural surroundings really did help me slow down. And in those quiet stretches, I found myself starting to reconnect with those around me, with nature, but also with my own faith in a very gentle way. Reason 7, it's easy to navigate and it's well waymarked, so there are clear yellow arrows and shell marker signs at regular intervals, like there are on most Camino trails. And this does make it a great option if it's your first solo pilgrimage, or if you just want to focus on the walk rather than the logistics. I did carry the Briley Camino guidebook with me. It's really lightweight, so it was easy to slip in my bag. But I did tend to use it more out of interest to see where I would be walking to each day ahead of time and to find out about those places. The maps in the book are really helpful, and they actually do offer some alternate routes which are more scenic than the signposted routes, but they're not essential as there are signs when you need them, so it's unlikely that you're going to get lost. I will also drop a link to the Briley guidebook in the description below, and it's not very expensive, so it's worth getting even if you just want to find out more about this Camino and read about it. Reason 8, it gives you space to walk differently. That might sound a little bit strange, but let me be honest with you. My heart is still very much with the Camino Frances. That's an epic 800 kilometers and it takes weeks to walk. And it does hold a really special place for me as it was my first Camino. But what stood out to me on the Camino Ingles was how it offered a different kind of experience. It was quieter, simpler, and possibly with fewer distractions. There were fewer people anyway, and the Camino Frances was definitely more busy, even in the earlier sections. And when I walked that route, I would find myself talking with others much more often than I did on the Camino Ingles. Which is not a bad thing at all, but the difference is on the Camino Ingles there was probably more time, a little bit more time for reflection as I walked, as there were less people. So I think it depends what you're looking for in your Camino. Every Camino has its own character, and that's probably why people become addicted to walking them. I plan to walk the Camino Portuguese next, and I'm sure that that route will feel different yet again. If you've walked more than one route, how have you found it? How have you found that they're different? Do let me know in the comments and let me know which has been your favourite Camino so far. And do you remember that I said I was going to save something until the end? Well, here it is. I do have a final reflection, and really I've hinted at that throughout this video. For me, the magic of the Camino Ingles wasn't just the scenery or even receiving the Compostela at the end. It was the quiet. It was space to breathe in the busyness of life. Sometimes life gets really full, noisy, busy, with conflicting demands, and it's in those times that I find myself really needing to step away and to reset. I came straight to the Camino from my job, and basically that is what the Camino gave me. So this wasn't an epic journey like the Camino Frances, but it did show me that a pilgrimage doesn't have to be long to be deep and just give you that space of connection and reset. If you like this video, you may also enjoy this video here, so please do check it out.